volunteer.
A volunteer.
Yeah, put me on the East Park employee list as a volunteer.
You should be an employee. The amount of time A, you spend here, and B, you kind of just follow Mike around.
Yeah, I've got East Park 4 members at least. Okay, so I gas them up harder than anyone else.
I brought in a couple of members, definitely.
Photoshop.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think you or I should be paying for membership at this point.
I don't want free membership. I just want to be on the employee list so I can say I actually do work there without getting paid. So then when I say to people I basically work here, I actually
You're just looking for a job reference.
And it means that if lockdown comes, then you need employees to clean.
Are you recording this right now?
I am actually recording.
So I'm not going to comment on anything to do with any of that in case you hold it against me.
Wow. Evidence in action there.
Yeah.
I need to turn this on.
So while Harry plays with himself or his phone,
someone needs to.
How is everyone? Are we all right? We're all surviving?
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm fine. I think I'm ready for Christmas to start and end and then get the new year in.
Okay. But what are we going to be chatting about on today's show? We've got some Q&A as always.
So what I'm thinking overall, like kind of maybe scope of the show is maybe because obviously it's the last one of the year. How can that's what I thought about maybe how could people approach fitness over the holiday period, i.e. eating over Christmas and like how to start in the new year.
I guess we may all have different opinions on that, I suppose. So that's probably a good place to start.
Well, Chris's opinion on anything food related is just eat as much as you can. That's okay. Am I wrong?
I thought we were going to catch up with each other.
I'll cover that when we go over it. Definitely on that side of things. I guess we should we do the intro and just crack into it?
Yeah, go on, man.
Do the intro and then we'll catch up.
Okay, fine. Let's do that.
Catch up.
Okay, let's go. Oh, you like that?
That caught me off guard, to be honest. I thought I'm in Harry Potter suddenly.
That's quite creepy.
It's not Potter, is it?
It does sound a bit Potterish, though.
I've only seen the first film and half of the second film.
This isn't Potter.
They don't get good until they're all good, but they get really good towards like the later ones.
Do you not know what this is, either of you?
I'm going to take the silence as a no, to be honest.
Oh, is this Home Alone?
Yes, this is Home Alone.
Oh, banging movie.
And obviously the perfect intro to a Christmas-related podcast. Yes, it is indeed, or it was, Home Alone. Yeah, welcome everyone. This is the Christmas episode of Pump Fiction. We're all here.
Ho, ho.
We're all festive. Some of us more than others with Santa hats and knitted jumpers.
That's me, by the way. I want to point out, I actually understood the assignment, guys. Yeah, Chris has the order. Yeah, could you wear something festive and or knitted, please? I'm like, I don't know, I'll find something. I turn up in Christmas jumper and a hat, and he's wearing a peach on his tit.
I've got a T-shirt with a peach on it.
How's that Christmassy?
It's not, but wasn't the whole point was we were going to take a photo afterwards for the cover.
I live in the character.
Yeah, it's true. You are method.
You
turn up in So I'll put the jumper on afterwards for the photo. I'll get too hot in here otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that means I actually have a photo to post to Instagram because I need to post more to my Instagram.
Is that true?
Is that what your agent says? Is it?
I know I need to in general. I've got loads of stuff in the works, but this is actually a really relevant photo because I'd be like, oh look, a photo of me. Look, Mum, I do have friends. I promise they're not online. And then be like, oh guys, listen to our podcast, please.
Does your mother is like Harry's upstairs? He's just talking into that microphone again.
I don't live with her anymore, but back when I did, she'd be like,
who are you talking to?
I think you're spending too much time with that microphone, Harold.
Yeah, I didn't leave the room basically. And
can you not just watch porn like normal children?
She watched my story. Oh, like I shared the story from the East Park thing on Saturday. She goes, Barry, no wonder you're in so much pain all the time. You're lifting too much weight. Sorry, Mum.
You know what someone actually said at the PR party? They were watching.
Can you just tell the listeners what the fucking PR party is first?
Oh, so the fucking PR party was on Saturday. We did
glorious.
We did a great little event at East Park Gym, a little personal record party.
And it was amazing.
When did they change it from PB to PR?
I don't know.
I bet someone complained. I bet GT complained. GT, if you're listening to this, I bet it was you.
I don't know. PB party just sounds a bit
peanut butter
party.
Could do. I don't like peanut butter.
I wanted to call it like celebration of strength or something, but that sounded a bit too dramatic.
I quite like that.
But that's what I kept saying to everyone.
So it was a do where everyone turned up just to have a good old jolly time lifting as much as they could.
lift
pretty much.
some
Just
stuff up and
cheer
put it
each
down.
other on.
I'm into it.
And what did the members say?
And no, I can't remember if it was you or maybe Breach. There's someone else that was Jason was deadlifting, and she was going to do the stretch class afterwards, and she looked in and she just went, "Oh, is that not dangerous?" And I kind of looked at her and I was like, well,
Did you say
no.
Did you say? Do you know what his middle name is? She went, no. His
Well, no,
middle
to be
name
fair,
is Danger.
Someone made the point of, well, people run marathons.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
that's-
dangerous if you don't do it.
So hang on, there's
safely.
people questioning whether powerlifting is safe or not.
Yeah, well, lifting heavy weights.
I
I said
mean-
it's
And
all relative.
this is a person that came to a gym that said that.
Yeah,
Or the flip around could be: is driving not dangerous if you drive badly? Do you know what I mean? If
Well,
you-
I just
Wow,
said,
great
Yeah,
metaphor.
I'm
that's
really
really good.
I am great.
I said to her, I was like, well, obviously you wouldn't start there, would you? Like you would progress up to that, and then she was like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. So I think it was just one of those things that just in the moment, people that are not exposed to that kind of thing would look at it and be like, that's extreme. But I look at a marathon runner and say, there's no way I could even run a kilometre, let alone
100%. My knees
however
hurt
many
going upstairs.
kilometres.
I used
can hear
to
them.
run, and then my joints basically started screaming
And then
at me.
you realised what you should really be doing, which is get big or die trying.
Yeah, true. And to be honest, right now I'm feeling like in the worst shape of the year, which is kind of acceptable in December, I suppose. But
Definitely.
I'm a little bit down on myself, if I'm honest. Like,
What's going on?
because I've been on holiday, which obviously is a good thing, and I like to eat, and whenever I go on holiday, I'm basically I'm all or nothing. So I've gained a lot of
I know.
weight, like unnecessary weight.
How much?
I won't weigh myself because
fair.
I'm feeling bad about it. Like,
I think you look great.
I'm wearing a sizable t-shirt to hide. I mean, obviously it can make you look bigger, which in like muscle and bodybuilding terms isn't a bad thing. But I'm glad it's not. We're not taking our tops off at any stage in this particular show. Part 2 of today's show. But yeah, so I don't know, just feeling a little bit like not good about. But at the same time, after Christmas, I'll be very focused on where I need to be for next year. And I guess we're going to be talking about handling Christmas in this show.
New year, new you.
Yeah, new year, new me. Lovely expression.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, and then also today, bad day today, guys. Bad day.
Talk to us.
Yeah, I got hacked. The worst, probably one of the worst places to get hacked is your PayPal account.
I thought you were going to say something else, but okay.
Go on.
Yeah, my PayPal account got hacked today, and they decided to send money out from it. I'm thankfully going to get that money back.
How much?
Not loads.
And where did it go?
How much?
I realised in time. If I hadn't have realised, they'd have just kept going. But they sent
siphoned.
They sent 3 £30 transactions, so not a lot.
But it's still it's the fact that you've had your privacy breached is quite
and then when I realised they were doing it, and I basically froze all my cards, they closed down my PayPal account. They deleted my PayPal account.
That's raw.
So essentially, all my payments that go out automatically monthly via PayPal have now just been cut off.
That's a lot of admin.
It's just ball ache.
I'm getting all new, like Amex, all new Barclay card, but current account card. So new cards. So every payment I make now has to be reset. I'm just like, I feel sick, guys.
It's just knowing that you've got a boring job ahead of you.
But like,
you know what? When I lived in Cardiff, I lost my card in the street, and then I was like, shit, I've lost my card. And I called Barclays, and I was like, I lost my Barclay card. Probably within 10 minutes of losing my card, someone tried to use it.
Oh yeah, that's normal.
People are quick.
But you know what?
What the fuck?
That's happened to me as well. But losing your card is just like a physical problem. This is like, I feel like I've been like violated internally. It's a horrible feeling. It's so weird.
I had that on someone hacked my YouTube like 2 months ago. They hacked all my everything. They hacked my Instagram, my YouTube, my Gmail, everything.
Oh no.
Bloody nightmare. I felt like you. I felt a bit like violated.
I felt sick all day today from it.
And like, same as you catch it early, but it's just like you're stressed it's going to happen again.
Yeah, and also you're stressed that they've got your personal information and somehow they can use it in another way. Or
you're on the lookout.
I've changed passwords everywhere. I've changed email address because I've got several email addresses. I've swapped over email addresses I use for different things.
Yeah.
But oh my God. And the worst thing is the person doing it was in fucking Slough.
No way.
I'm so sorry, Chris. It's my fault. Please forgive. Was it okay? Interesting you say that, because when my card got hacked again about 2 months ago, the transaction, everything came from Slough as well.
This Slough is a fucking hotbed of
But-
like data theft.
See, yeah, mine came from O2.
Or it's someone you both know.
'Cause
Well,
ba-
they tried to use my card for O2 Slough and everything. Same with my sister when she got hacked. O2 Slough. It always just goes straight to them. So I think there's something going on.
I don't know. Well, basically, it said that the password attempt. I got an email afterwards when it was too late saying someone's attempted your password from the Slough area. So I knew that was where it was.
Where have you both mutually been your lives together?
Anyway,
Mm.
let's not dwell.
Well, I'm sorry you had a bad day,
But
now it's better.
previous to that, I had a good holiday. Went away to New York, so that was good. Christmas festivities.
Gonna have good
It
Christmas,
looked
yeah?
awesome.
It did look good. I did
It looked
stalk
really
the
good.
stories.
I had some good times there. Caught up, saw some basketball, and
Yeah, those guys are massive.
They're huge.
They're so big.
Absolute mutants.
well, they're like you know how that works, right? They're just you're supposed to be at like between 6.5 to 7 foot
I
minimum.
know, but
height.
seeing that many big people in one place,
It's-
you just don't ever see that.
So like,
Unless you go to Amsterdam. I went there and my lord, I'm 6
Oh, the
foot,
Dutch, they're quite tall,
I'm
aren't they?
6'3", and oh my lord, I walk around and I was just like, am I about to be like treated as a child? Like they're all massive, and I was like, what are they feeding you? Because I want to come over here. Jesus, they're massive.
like the Icelandics are supposed to be big as well.
Blew my
Yeah.
mind. I remember when GT and I had to call the police on an incident. There was a big domestic next door, so we called the police, and these policemen arrived in less than 7 minutes. I was like, wow, what a service. And then they rock up, and I'm looking up to them. Like I said, 6'3", I'm looking up, so like, Daddy? They were absolutely mutant large. And I was just like, yeah, I'm in my boxers, a tank top, and a pineapple bucket hat and
Yeah,
sunglasses.
there sounds like a lot more to this story than your.
That fucking SpongeBob over there.
And then they come in. I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm leaving.
Yeah,
I'm going.
But yeah,
send me home.
enough about me. How is everyone else doing? Mike, you've been abroad as well.
I've been abroad. I've
Yeah.
been to Abu Dhabi. I was only there for 4 days, so I don't really count it as a holiday, but
Obviously,
it was fun.
you were there for like the
Go on,
the
tell us.
culmination of the Formula One season, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. No,
Tell us the success story.
I was there for the Spartan World Championships. I wasn't competing myself. It was
Because
one of my
he'd win.
because I didn't want to show everyone up. But my client, shout out to Jordan Bold, 17, came second.
Big.
Incredible considering the kind of year he's had with his health and just not really being able to train so much. He did really, really well. 4.5 hours out in the desert. And when I say the desert, like it was just
Oh, yeah. I saw your
dunes
story.
and
It was-
camels,
Yeah.
and that was it. And the circuit loop is 21 kilometers. The circuit looped back where we were and then back out again. So halfway, he appeared again, 2 hours later, threw a javelin, climbed a 900-foot dune, and then disappeared off again for another 2 hours.
I think I saw that in your story.
Yeah.
And what's stopping him from turning around and saying, you know what? Goodbye, boys. Slide.
I mean, some people, that the dune they cut to climb, it was so steep, it took them 15 minutes, and they were crawling on hands and knees, and they looked like little ants because it was so big. And the heat was ridiculous. And I mean, I was out in the heat for 6 hours, but I found a bit of shade and just kind of
It's
sat
like a
back.
really dry heat, though.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like, when you open the oven and you get hit by the heat.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that.
When I got off the
all
plane,
time.
that's what it was like.
Yeah.
And it's like the Wild West out there. Like the locals are just they know there's an event going on, but they were just up on the dunes, on their bikes and stuff, and people were trying to run around them. The locals were turning up in buggies, driving alongside the runners, playing music at them and stuff. And the police were just like, well, we can't really do anything. You can't really police the desert. It's kind of a bit of a free reign.
You can't police the desert.
You can't police the desert.
Guys, remember that. If you think about doing crime, where are we going to go? The desert.
The
Yeah.
desert. So he came second. So we're going to Europe.
First loser.
Yeah, first loser. And we're going to Europe next year to do them a bit closer to home.
Nice.
Because I think
well done to
there's a-
you and your client.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well done, homies.
He did great. I'm very proud of him.
Good.
Under good guidance, that's why.
And Harry, what have you achieved since we last spoke?
That's a great question. That's
Crickets.
actually a really, really great question. What have I achieved since we
Crickets.
last spoke? Not a lot, to be honest. Just living and trying to eat food and get big and do YouTube and make things work.
Lifted some heavy weights at the weekend. You can
Yeah,
chalk that up as something. Bearing in mind you turned up and you were basically sandbagging it, saying, I don't think I'm going to lift, I don't think I'm going to lift. And you got-
I did the opener on the bench and then a little bit more, and that was it. But I'm saying next time we're doing it properly and we're going to...
Did you basically turn up to the competition and you were like, yeah, I could totally run away with this, but I've been kind of busy, so I'm going to kind of stand back and just see what, these smaller guys can do.
He wanted to see what everyone else is capable of and then decided, okay, now it's time. Switch it on.
Well, look, realistically, I'm heavy, so I was always going to do okay. But I just want to see, the only one I would do, like I want to do the big bench. But then I was like, with my pec, and I saw what happened with Ryan. If you're listening to this, you give me anxiety. I was like, yeah, I bottled it. I remember saying in the warm-up, everyone was like, oh, are you going to go for the 4 plates again? I was like, no, I'm scared of my booby. Please don't do this. I'm really scared.
It is not.
But yeah, we next one, we go big. Big. 700 total minimum.
Well,
that's the PB I always wanted.
They heard it here first, guys.
That's it. So these are your intentions for 2022. God knows what else is going to.
Oh no, that's like I'm not really going to train for it, but I'm going to like bodybuilding's priority. We know that we're there.
Yes, we are.
We got a show. I think we're going to go beginning of 2023 because of the pandemic. It's kind of it's thrown shows off a lot.
Pandemonia.
So we're looking March to April 2023. But I'll do
so
the. So
you've pushed back already. Interesting.
Yeah, because the only other ones we were looking at.
to push back. To be
well,
fair.
we were going to do the 2022 ones, were either March and April 2022. I'm just not ready for that. So a year later.
Can't you just do something at the end of next year?
Well, we wanted to do the Welsh, but that's been binned entirely.
Are you waiting for me to do a bodybuilding show? Is that what you're saying?
Go on then. Let's all 3 of us. Let's do it.
I'm definitely not doing it, but I'll host it. I'll tan you both.
Oh yeah. Chris is doing the PB party as well, or the PR party.
I'm fucking not.
Yeah, he is. He is. Just watch him. Trust me.
Leg press.
I'm the oldest here. I'm my powerlifting days are behind me.
Mandeep's 40 years old in like a week, and he's putting some big boy numbers.
Exactly. I've never put big boy numbers up for whatever.
You don't try.
It just doesn't suit me.
You're not going to bait him into doing it.
Yeah,
the most I squatted was 175.
All right, let's go 180. Let's go, big man.
And the most I deadlifted was 200.
Let's go 220.
And then bench was like the most I've benched is like 115, I think.
Let's go 120.
It's a terrible set of numbers.
No, it's not.
They're not bad.
Just hurts me.
It hurts me too. But we do it anyway because we're trying to support the gym.
Yes.
And trying to gain respect and assert dominance to people who don't really care how much you know.
There it is.
I just want Breach to tell me I'm strong for once in my life.
Has he never said that to you?
No, he never tells me I'm strong.
No.
But that's because he's half your size and,
and he deadlifts more than me.
Relatively way stronger than you, yeah.
It's that whole like treat him mean, keep him keen. If he keeps you at a certain level, you're always going. Well, it is because it's still bothering you now.
Yeah, but he's living in my head rent free. It doesn't mean I'm keen.
We don't want to live in anyone's head rent free.
We do that plenty.
Yeah, so we've already ruffled some feathers there, haven't we?
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you feel like we're living in your head rent free, we're probably talking about you. Yes. Mike
alerted me whilst I was away to the fact that people have, had grievance with this, burgeoning show already. What's that about?
I don't know.
Episode 2 and Chris is already ready to throw hands.
My hands are tied right now.
Mike's out there sweating in the corner like, please don't do this, please don't do
this.
Don't
bring it up, Chris.
Chris is just there shadowboxing when no one's looking.
Anyway.
Let's discuss things. So obviously Christmas is on the horizon. We're there basically. I'm ready to bulk, not sulk. Let's talk about food, because obviously you're a big foodie. I know you eat a bit as well, Mike. I've seen you shoving.
I mean, what are you trying to insinuate with that?
You're looking juiced to the gills right now, so something's been going on.
You're looking rather pumped. To be fair,
our dinner on Saturday's gone straight to those biceps. Jesus.
Thank you.
But yeah, I've had a bit of a rough time with food just because of too many vacations, the vacay vibes. So I don't know where I'm at the moment. I need to get back on track. I haven't really trained properly in the last couple of weeks again because of being on holiday and stuff. And I don't know, my head's not really in it, and it's bad. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm completely going to level with you now. Been feeling a bit depressed.
Feel a bit down about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't know if it's like the current social climate of what's going on in the world and stuff, or the season, or everything's just a bit weird. But I need to get. I'm pretty sure that once I start getting a bit of routine back again, maybe it's just holiday blues. When you come back from a holiday and you're just a bit like, this kind of sucks.
I kind of get that because whenever anything has occurred where it's kind of thrown me out of my routine, you're quite routine. You're quite a man of structure.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm the same,
previous to going away, I was doing my morning cardio and I was eating a lot of really clean carbs, gradually increasing everything. Numbers were good, like condition was still good. But right now, like I don't even know if I've hit protein targets in recent days. my body's completely out of shape. I feel like everything's gone wrong. But at the same stretch, I've been doing this so long that I know for a fact that I pretty much do this every year without fail. In that, by the time January comes, I'm a mess, and I've got like a couple of. I'll then take a couple of months just to gradually get myself back to where I need to be. Basically,
I think it's one of those things. I'm similar in the sense that when I lose my routine, I feel a bit lost. I feel not quite me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, my food's not quite there. I just feel like a bit lower.
We're creatures of habit.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with this, it's one of the things to remind yourself, which I think probably applies to a lot of people listening, is that a very short stint of this inconsistency, in the grand scheme of things, is going to do no harm to you or your body, your physique. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you have goals, or if you want to get big, you want to get doing this, a couple of weeks where you're a bit out of a mental break, we'll call it, is not going to send you back to square one, although it may feel like that at times.
Yeah.
A friend of mine a couple of years ago, just to give some context here, he got appendicitis. He was in hospital for quite a while, and he's a big guy, very good muscle, very lean, really conditioned, really he eats a lot of food as well to stay that size. Incredible bodybuilder, natural as well, brilliant. But he obviously had to go in hospital, couldn't train, couldn't eat properly, and he lost like a load of weight because of that. But when he came out of hospital and was fine again and got back to normal, he put that weight back on so quickly.
So fast.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, like, people don't understand how resilient muscle is. Like, how you could do the bare minimum to maintain. Gaining muscle's bloody hard. That's the challenge. But maintaining muscle isn't that hard. Especially if you train, like, heavy, you're training well, you actually lift, like, quote unquote, properly, which, again, is very much dependent on goals. It comes back so quickly.
And also if your diet is not necessarily tuned in perfectly, but as long as you're getting enough protein and
if you can almost
enough calories,
kind of nail as many variables as possible, even during times of inactivity, when things kind of align again, you'll be surprised how quickly.
And I can attest to that, because out of the three of us, I've never competed or trained for anything in particular. And I have periods where I don't train because of work. I just got too much to do. There's too much to do at the gym. There's clients. There's loads to do. I lose a little bit of muscle, lose a bit of strength, lose a bit of weight. Within weeks, a lot of it returns if I just get a bit of consistency. And then a lot of it is, what I say to my clients is, it doesn't matter if you fall off the wagon, it's what happens after that. If you then spiral, then there's a problem. If something goes wrong or doesn't go right, as long as you just, I'll just go back on track. Over time, I'll just get back there, you'll be fine.
I think that's what it is. People need to look at this, the latter part of December, as just like a planned kind of, not detox, because if anything,
a mental deload.
It's a mental deload.
Definitely.
You're definitely putting plenty of toxins in the body, probably, but like, you're just giving yourself a chance to get mentally ready for going at it properly in the new year.
Definitely.
And I'm trying to kind of compartmentalize that right now. I'm trying to kind of get that into my head that it's okay to have a 7th mince pie. Oh
yeah, 7. That's nice. I had my first mince pie a few years ago because I generally thought that it was mince meat. Like, I was an idiot.
To be fair, literally until I was like early teens, I thought the same.
But I was like 25, and I've eaten so many since then. I'm 31 now. I've eaten so many mince pies.
I made a batch of them yesterday. I probably should have brought some in.
Are you ready for me to throw out some controversial opinions?
You don't like them, basically?
I think they're so dead.
Oh, you're dead.
Mummy, please. Don't be like this.
Don't say that. I've only just discovered them. At least let me enjoy them for a little bit longer before I decide.
Yeah, but I also think pizza's dead, so...
I mean, what can I say?
That silence, did you hear it? There was a moment since you got in the room, there was actual silence. We both looked at each other like...
I wasn't sure whether to bother just going at you for that or not, really.
Look, everyone's like, oh, you haven't had proper pizza. I went to Italy and had pizza, and it tastes like a soggy flip-flop.
Yeah, but they actually do pizza differently there, don't they?
Yeah, it's dead. Their pasta bangs. Gotta be honest, you had some carbonara stuff out there, and I said, you know what? Shake my hand. This is good stuff.
Doesn't surprise me. Carbonara is like the most basic pasta.
I've only had like 3 times in my life, and one of which was at the weekend. I was like, this is actually quite nice. I should do this more often.
Socialise?
Yeah, I should also do that more often. Oh no. We'll work on that one. Progressive overload, socialising, baby steps.
Yeah, less time with the mic, more time with this mic.
Yeah, less time with the inanimate mic, more time with the pumped up mic.
Pumped up.
Jacked Mike. He's obviously been hitting the Psalms between the show.
Yeah, someone's been tickling some of the old naughties.
Or maybe not. So Christmas, guys. Just so what's the end message here?
Look, basically, it's Christmas. It's holiday
So,
period.
yeah, I'm not going to start singing.
Oh, please don't. I mean, we feel sick with happiness because you're so good. It's
I can get
not
a bit.
like,
Hang on,
God,
whilst you
no.
deliver your message, I'm
We'll
going
go
to.
around. You do your Christmas, I'll do my Christmas message, and you can do your.
All right. So my Christmas message is: at the end of the day, unless you are immediately training for something that's very extremely like a bodybuilding show in January or something along those lines, it's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? This is we've had a crappy couple of years, and it's not over yet for many reasons that we're not going to discuss on the podcast. But try and just find some kind of like happiness and kind of relaxing or release over a holiday period. We can see your friends, see your family, eat food, do whatever you want to do, and just enjoy things. Don't stress about guilt. Don't stress about the kind of anxieties of what if I do this, what if I do that, how am I going to recover from this regarding like weight changes, fluctuations. It's not that deep. Just eat as much as you want or as much as you don't want, your choice. Enjoy yourself and worry about the next steps when it's time to take them.
Cool.
I like that.
Do you want to add that? To
I'm
anything?
going to add to that. Mine's going to be targeted more towards maybe the newbie or the people that are returned to fitness, and it's don't fall into the trap of waiting until next year. Maybe just do 1 or 2 sessions between now and the new year, just half an hour. Just get in the gym. Just go on a few machines.
I'm definitely going to try and train. Like for me, like training. I love training when I've been eating too much because
Yeah.
ultimately
the pump.
is
It's
the
unreal.
pump. As Arnold says, it's like coming.
It is. So if you're, just get a half an hour in a couple of times a week. Don't wait until January. Don't become the statistic.
Well, it's the
12
perfect-
days. 12
Yeah.
days is normally the longest that people stick to their fitness New Year's resolution.
It's
It's
the,
because everyone starts at the same time with no plan. They're just
Yeah.
like, oh, January's going to be the one deciding factor. The one variable I'm going to change is the month I start,
Yeah.
and that's going to get me more success. No, just start now. Get familiar with your gym. Join a gym if you're not. Come join my gym. It's great.
Back it.
Yeah,
Our gym.
our gym.
Co-owners, can I put $5 towards it so I can have
Good chat.
0.00000?
Yeah, I'll sort some shares out. Join a gym. Get familiar with it now. So when it's January and it turns into a bit of a zoo, you already kind of know what you need to do. You've already kind of got yourself familiar, and then January you can just kind of up the dose, I guess, of training.
Up the dose.
Yeah. I saw your eyes light up then, Harry. You got something to discuss?
You literally went up there, and when you went I was like, of Trent? No. It's the perfect Monday thing. It's like we say diet starts Monday. The perfect Monday doesn't exist. Why Monday? Why not now? Why
That
not
says
tomorrow?
a lot more about someone's mentality
Yeah.
if they're waiting. It's like, why can't you start it now during this
Yeah.
conversation? What could you do right
Yeah,
now?
it's literally like, I'll join. If you want to join the gym in January, my challenge to you, if you're listening to this, is join it this week before Christmas.
Yep.
Go in, just
Go
do
once.
one
Yeah.
session. Go for the induction.
Yeah.
There you go.
Change the routine.
Yeah.
Break the cycle.
Go, Chris.
Oh, my turn.
Go on, Chris.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say, eat what you want. Try and
This is actually what you said he would say.
Of
eat
course,
what
he
you
loves
want.
food.
I do love food. Try and nail as much like good protein in the process of doing that. Doesn't have to be like little bits here and there. Just nail a fuck ton of protein. Obviously, turkey and all that stuff.
Turkey's slapped.
And then,
It's
yeah,
dead.
maybe try and get some workouts in. A lot of walking. Walking is
Oh,
good.
yes.
Or we love
Yeah.
a Christmas walk
Christmas
with the dogs.
fucking walks. Yeah.
With the dogs.
And
Or
then, and then straight after Christmas,
Put that cookie down!
you get it?
dog. Oh, that was good. That was good timing. That was quick.
Yeah.
He likes
Put
that.
that cookie down!
Yeah, but I put the cookie up.
Actually, off the back of yours, I would say now's a good time to build some really simple habits, like just going to the gym once, maybe drinking a bit more water, walking a bit.
Yeah.
Don't put any more pressure on yourself to do any more than that, because then come January, you've already got a good base to build off.
Just have a bloody good time.
Yeah, and enjoy yourself.
And just do what makes you
Tis
happy.
the season.
Yeah, just do what makes you happy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Solid, sound advice.
We should turn this into like an agony aunt. Session.
This should be a fitness podcast, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
I like it.
Is it a fitness podcast?
Wait, it's a podcast.
It's on
we
the
don't
fence
really
at the
know what
moment.
it is. Choice. At the moment, it's kind of just 3 dudes in a room.
I mean, we can start
mumbling.
talking about cryptocurrency if you want to vary it. I don't know.
I don't know much.
Yeah, let's probably not do that.
NFT?
Oh, let's not even talk
Yeah,
about NFTs.
you'll upset Chris with that.
That I don't get.
I know the acronym, and that's about as far as it goes.
I've got cryptocurrency, but I don't
got a-
understand.
I've got a little bit as well.
I saw Gary Vee saying to a personal trainer on a video, saying when you give someone a receipt, you should also give them an NFT, and then you get royalty. And then I started watching it, and I was looking at it, and I've triggered him now.
You set him off now.
And I was watching it. I was like, I really want to understand this.
Why
but
are
I am a personal trainer.
Why
so.
are all NFTs like really like Microsoft Paint worthy pictures?
Animated like
And I
cartoon.
read
dog shit pictures.
And I read an article about it, and because you can just basically copy it anyway, it's like I'm just laughing because I'm like, oh, that's so true. I could just screenshot that and be like, that's mine, right?
You know when you go to like a theme park and you're on a roller coaster and they take a picture of you like shitting your pants going down a thing.
I know exactly what you're
you
going to say.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
you go to take a picture of the picture on
And
the
they
wall,
give you
and
the
their guy's
death
like
stare.
stopping
It's like,
you.
no.
Like that.
Buy the keychain.
Someone on TikTok commented saying guys with NFTs. It's just them going like that. It's just like that's literally it.
Because usually the photos actually are someone shitting themselves on fucking NFTs. It would seem.
Definitely.
But yeah, anyway, we're not going to talk anymore about cryptocurrency. We're probably going to go on to a bit of Q&A now. Probably would help us keep things moving, I would say, before we descend into absolute nonsense. We haven't got any other key pressing personal issues to cover. I've already handled my own personal hacking scenario, holiday scenario.
He's vented his frustrations to his friends.
I'm not feeling myself today, I'll be honest, boys. I'm really not.
No, that's okay. Carrie does most of the talking anyway, so...
I don't like these people.
Questions. Let's go.
All right. So, which one did we want to go to? Do we want the?
Well, you pick. I mean, what you put it out.
Do we want
there.
a funny question or a serious question?
Let's start with serious.
I think this is probably quite a good one for the new year. As how do you set realistic starting goals for lifting? Be that relative to body weight or another reference. I think it's quite appropriate considering the new year is coming around. What I think we could kind of change it slightly is, what would a good first goal when looking to enter the gym environment be, and how would you consider setting one?
Can I ask, are we coming at this from an angle of a newbie?
I think
we'll go from a newbie.
I think we'll hit newbie, and also we should probably hit some goal setting for
Intermediates.
experienced lifters. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I reckon after you, Big Mike.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so I'm just basically going to go off what I normally do with beginners, which is, I guess, looking at movement and sorting out imbalances first, because quality of life is really important for all my clients, and a lot of the clients I deal with are busy people who tend to not really know much about fitness. So for me, it's a case of I need to get you healthy, need to get you moving properly, and then we can build from there. Now they're going to build muscle and lose body fat from doing that as well, because we start to bring in some of the principles of nutrition, build some pillars, build a good base. But yeah, I always come from the school of sort out some imbalances, because there's no point trying to build a house on a foundation that's shaky. So I start with imbalances first. Single leg works great, single arm works great, pushing, pulling, those kind of things. I normally try and stay away from a barbell unless they've got experience with that, and you can normally tell from a movement screen if someone should be messing about with a barbell or not.
Yeah. Bloody solid stuff, homie.
Sounds a bit dull though.
It is, and I say to them,
sometimes unfortunately training is quite dull.
Yeah, but like
it's not
okay,
exciting.
someone new starting out, I'm not going to say right. It's like basically going for a driving lesson, and your first lesson, and he's like, right, we're not actually going to do any driving today.
that was my first driving lesson.
was also my first driving lesson.
I was actually like, this is the steering wheel. I was like,
I'm just going to talk you through what. See that's a barbell. Yeah, you can't touch that today. We're not going to let you touch that for at least 3 months. That over there, that is the leg press. Yeah, you're not big enough for that yet, so you can't do that. No, I mean, yeah, I guess what you're saying is correct. You've got to make sure the foundations are solid.
definitely.
But I don't see why. I mean, I probably tend to agree with you in the sense that probably dumbbells before barbells, I would say, for certain things, just because it depends ultimately how strong you are. I think if you're naturally strong, then I don't see why you shouldn't be able to lift a barbell.
It's not that I say that you can't use a barbell, and I mean, I did say, like, it depends on their experience. If they've used a barbell before, then I'm like, cool, we can incorporate some barbell lifts. Like, if they can back squat quite well, then I'm not going to not back squat with them, but I can almost guarantee that they probably don't do any single leg work. So I'm definitely going to be throwing some different things at them.
I think fundamentals are everything.
Definitely.
And basically say to them, look, we ain't going to do any of those bullshit Instagram lifts you've seen. We're going to cover the basics. Let's hit your key stuff. Let's look at your squats, your deadlifts. Well, deadlifts, I think especially for newbies, are great. I'd definitely start someone on a trap bar lift.
Yeah, or even like a rack pull. Like that's a really good way to if you get it from just below the knee, you can actually get them to work on their hinge a bit.
I think I would probably say that it's better to start with, I don't know, I'm torn. Would you say start with free weights over machines, or vice versa?
I think, again, it kind of goes on to what Mike's saying. There's so many variables to consider. You can't ever say this is probably the approach I would take with everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are too many things to consider.
So what's a good rule of thumb?
It depends. Like, if you are going to the gym where you really lack confidence, then I think you do have obvious movement hindrances that are limiting you, and will probably really limit you going forward if you don't correct them. Then obviously the approach of addressing those imbalances is probably going to be quite an important one. But then flip it around. If, let's say, you're pretty solid, movement's okay, like you can fair point. The realistic, I think a lot of times you almost need to learn how to move in the sense, and I think machines can be quite good at that. You completely eliminate any kind of stability hindrances someone may have, and just say, have you ever pressed against resistance? No. Okay, well, we're going to chuck you on a chest press, and you're going to know how it feels to press against resistance.
Interestingly, when I first started lifting weights, 12 years ago, I started on machines because, as a newbie, the free weights area can be a little bit intimidating.
Well, extremely.
Whereas the machines are it's pretty simple. You can only push what you can push, and you're not going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, and you can only move in one movement pattern a lot of the time.
Yeah, so it's confidence and safety to some extent. Because the first time I ever went to the gym, I bench pressed, I dropped on my head with the bar because I wasn't strong enough to lift the bar. Yeah,
so I would say newbies maybe get a bit of confidence pushing machines and seeing what your natural strength is like, and then maybe with someone who knows what they're doing, gravitate more towards free weights afterwards and work on those techniques. Because if you don't, I mean, we've all seen people who do exercises with bad technique, and you wince, don't you? You worry about them. So just ask for help
on the road. But that kind of goes back to my point about a movement screen. If you do a good consultation, a good movement screen, in that hour and a half, you should really understand someone's training experience and then how they move. And if you've got those things down well, you ask the good questions, you get them to do the proper movement screen. I can say, well, you can clearly back squat. So let's try it with a barbell, see where you're at. And because, a lot of coaching and programming is educated guessing anyway, because we know that, as you alluded to, Harry, there's no solid rule for things. So, for Chris, it might be well, he can definitely do that, and then I might not better do something, and you might better do it okay. So you kind of is educated guess, and a lot of coaching, especially with a new client who you've never really worked with before, the first couple of sessions or even the first cycle of training might be a lot of testing. They don't really know they're testing. They think they're training, but you're really just practicing things with them.
Yeah, it's literally just say let's try this, see how you get on with this. Oh, okay, this is interesting. To them, they're just we're trying new things, but to you, it's okay, we're identifying what needs to be addressed going forward. And part of the other challenge is actually just getting them to turn up.
Yeah,
so
put them off. If you put beast mode session 1, it's okay, I'm not coming back because I hurt too much.
Absolutely. You go first session, and let's say you chuck them on back squat or deadlift, and they're all over the problem. They hurt themselves maybe, or they feel. Or maybe they just feel like they had a bad experience with back squat. You had to help them, God forbid. They're probably not going to come back. Anxiety is a big factor of that. Or you absolutely beans them and they feel like they've been hit by a train for 5 days. They're like, There's going to be a minority of people that'll be like, you know what, I really like that. And you're like, good, it is a reward. But there's going to be a lot of people that say, I felt horrible for a few days afterwards. I don't know if that's for me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easing them in. I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong way to approach newbies to some extent. I think because you are such an open book, you're at 50 different directions. Which one do you want to choose? And that's very much dependent on who you're actually working with. It's too hard to really say this is what I would do.
And some people that are fast learners just of everything in general, they're the easiest to coach.
I've seen people
they pick up things so fast.
I've seen people that within literally a session can squat better than 99% of people I've ever seen. I'm so naturally you are just really good at squatting, which is fantastic. You've got good movement patterns. But then flip around, you see some people who take a lot longer to learn those things. Sure. And I think because they don't really know what they're doing and why they're doing, introduction to free weights, well, you're doing this for this purpose. Try and mimic this, a leg press variation on a free weight, and they could be like, oh, okay, so this is what I'm meant to do. So the knees can actually go like that. Oh, okay, now it makes sense.
You kind of start somewhere and then you either progress or regress from that point.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
like in the case of the first person you're talking about, if they can back squat after one session, I agree with you, what you said. That would be really boring if I was like, right, we're not going to do any barbell work.
Yeah, no, of course.
Because it's pretty obvious that you can back squat and I'd actually be holding you back. And I've come from a coach's point of view, which is that I'm there to get a result at the end of the day. So my programming needs to evolve as they evolve.
Which very much depending on their goals as well.
Yeah. Rabbit hole.
And then, so just quickly, the advanced lifter, what's the perspective there?
I think the big one is, if you're an advanced lifter, you've been doing this for a few years, and maybe you're feeling a bit flat with motivation.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you here?
I need that all the time.
Literally, it's like, why do you go to the gym? Okay, I want to do this and this. Okay, but why? I want to get bigger, but why? I don't know, I feel like just be cool to get bigger, right? Okay, what can you do that actively aligns with your why? Okay, well, what about bodybuilding? You ever thought about doing a show maybe in a year? What about, I like getting stronger. Okay, that's really cool. Okay, what else? It's like, I don't know. Well, can you do a goal that aligns with what you like and why you're training, which is strength? It's like, oh, I guess I could. Well, you ever thought about doing powerlifting meet? You ever thought about doing a PR party at East Park in summer? Just things like that. It's like, well, set a goal. Like, look, you like training for strength, or you like training with hypertrophy as your primary focus. Do something that almost enhances what you already do.
Almost put a bit of pressure, a bit of a time pressure on it.
You need to put pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think Chris will probably be the same. I think you'll probably be the same as well. Is having that pressure and almost like minor anxiety of, you have the accountability of, I'm going to do a show or a meet in 6 months. Now, if I bottle it, I'm still going to do it, but I'm going to make myself look bad if I don't do it well, sort of thing. You need that pressure and the anxiety of,
definitely.
Like, this is now on me, and you need the accountability.
I think we covered this in the last podcast, funny enough, about I spoke about the pros and cons to photo shoots, for example.
Oh yeah, well, photo shoot's a great one.
If you don't want to do, be judged on stage, then set yourself a target of that. So yeah, I totally 100% agree. Let's all start next year with a fucking goal in mind. I think is probably a good thing to
I
say.
think that's fair, because as I said, I've never really had something, so actually I can attest to, sometimes I spin my wheels in the mud a little bit.
But you've obviously set yourself kind of business related goals which maybe sidetracked your fitness related goals.
100%. I'd say the last 6 years.
Goals don't just need to be fitness related. They can be in any facet of life.
And
it's all about priorities.
But then also, we are here to basically talk about fitness, so I would suggest that even if you've got goals in the realms outside of fitness, you should still make time in your schedule for your fitness and health goals at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think for me that would be my big goal. It's just trying to make that a priority for me.
Yeah,
well, I had this conversation with someone a long time ago when I was like immensely quite a big rut, and they said, like, regardless of what, at the time I really hated my job. It was absolutely horrendous, and they kind of said, like, what's the one thing in your day that you, regardless if it's good or a bad day, you just love doing? I said, I love going to the gym. It's my happy place. I get to see my friends there. I get to interact. I got to do things that I like. It's like almost like hour or two of freedom when nothing really matters. And she said to me, regardless of what happens today, you have to give yourself that allocated slot of, for an hour a day, you will prioritize you and the thing you love most, which at that time was training. So I don't care if you've done a 12-hour day, you have to find that hour to do something. Even half an hour, just go to the gym and just do something, just to almost find that normality of, like, regardless, this is a consistent in my life that will always be there.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people kind of neglect it when they're like, I'm working loads. I need to do this, but I want to train, but work comes first. It's like, work does come first, but just get to the gym for half an hour. Just do something and just give yourself that you time. Otherwise, your mental fatigue and burnout is just going to absolutely batter you.
There was when I did my OPEX course, which is like a fitness kind of functional fitness course. In the consultation bit, there's actually a question that you ask where you ask them, where are the 3 places in your life where you have total control? Like, if someone was to come in to that space and mess it up, it would send you in a bit of a spin.
Yeah.
And the whole point of asking the question is, if you establish with the client that there isn't actually a space in their life where they have the control, that you're like, well, you need to have that.
Need to find
it's not even really about fitness. It's like, it could be your car, it could be your desk. You need to have space in your life where you are in control of what's going on, because it gives
your
you that
space.
Yeah.
I think I'm a control freak, so
Facts.
Anything that puts me out of control is a hard fucking time. Like, hence why today and the stress of getting fucking my finances hacked have been very, very stressful today.
I can imagine, yeah.
But that's normal for anyone, I think. But so I totally agree with you that, if you need to find a place where you're in control of your enjoyment and don't let anyone get in the way of that, really.
No, I agree.
Definitely.
Good stuff. All right, next question, please.
Do you want to do the question? Did you get any good ones? I've got a few more, but
Did I get any good questions? I did get actually quite a good question. Do you want to do one of yours just while I get it? Otherwise, it's going to be.
do you want a serious one? Do you want a funny one?
Just give us a funny one, please.
I think we already know which one's going to be. Shout out Mac, I know you're listening. How do I make my toes bigger?
So that is obviously bullshit then.
Yeah, so yeah, of course, it's a funny question, but
Okay, well, let's just hypothesize.
How do you make
How could you
anything
make toes bigger?
Well, you-
progressive overload.
Synthol right into the toes.
Synthol is what some bodybuilders inject into their muscles to make them look
Separate
bigger.
the fibers with
And
oil
they
and
explode. Their arms
horrendous.
explode, and
See,
it is
That
disgusting.
I learned about that a couple of years ago, and it blew my mind that people were actually injecting an oil into themselves to make their muscles rounder.
All it does is literally separate the fibers. From my understanding, it just kind of creates a further gap between them.
Is it a bit like supermarkets that inject chicken
Chicken with
breast
water.
chicken with water just
And
to pump it up a bit?
Literally, that's all it does. Because I don't really know mass amounts about synthol. I did a bit of reading a few years ago because I was thinking, could I make my calves bigger? Let's find out.
Team no calves.
And they back it, and that's probably why I keep skipping them. It's my own fault. Sorry, Doris, if you're listening. And they basically, ultimately, the oil just basically creates a large gap between fiber and just separates them, which is why a lot of times people lose that striated look, because it
Smooths everything out.
yeah, essentially, it is an oil. And if I think synthol in very, I say minor doses, it's not as noticeable.
Let's
and
not fucking encourage it.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, but like you see people, when you see people on like who've obviously synthol on
Who's
stage.
sponsored by Synthol brand by any chance?
Shout out Boston Lloyd Team 3cc's. It's very much like you can kind of get away with it on like very small amounts without like, a lot of people on stage, even on the Olympia stage. I'm sure they probably tickled a tiny bit at some
Well,
point.
Hadi Japan, yeah, that's
But then when you take it to the extreme, you then look at what we kind of I think we spoke last time I was spoken about with someone where you get like, remembering Greg Valentino was the guy whose arms exploded.
Oh, that kid, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, he's a kind of the starting point of synthol overuse, and then it got quite big in Brazil, I want to say.
Got a bit viral, yeah.
You know
where I
the
saw
guys where they got the traps and they've obviously never lifted weight in their life before, and they've got bosoms.
It's bizarre.
It blows my mind. Have you seen? You get some nasty. The people were injecting olive oil at one point.
What is wrong with people? Honestly, social media
It's societal pressures and beauty standards that people think, you know what, this is what the world wants to see.
Yeah.
It's like, no, trust me.
This will get me likes, and I'm validated by
And
how
you've
many
now
likes
had
and followers I have.
some horrendous like hematoma in the bicep or something. Now you're in hospital for the next 3 months because you're pissing out Kentucky Fried
But-
Chicken oil.
Your biceps were massive.
Massive, red, bulbous, and sore.
Yeah, and then they have to like take them off.
You
because
literally
they're so
remove them.
inflamed.
That's what they do.
They don't work anymore.
Well, Greg Valentino did that to himself, didn't he? Cut open his own bicep, try and remove the infection.
You're joking.
Yeah, it was horrendous. There's video
What
footage of
is-
it.
How have we got from making your toes bigger?
Well,
to
basically, my go-to for how to make your toes quicker, if we're looking realistically, you want to optimize this, yeah? I don't have time to piss around. Everything's about being optimal here, guys. I want everyone to know that we're optimal people. So you want to get your toes as big as big as quickly as possible. Break them. Just
right.
drop something in your
Yeah.
big toe, and it will swell up like
No,
an absolute
okay.
balloon.
My-
25 kilo
huge.
plate.
My advice would be
Allergic reaction.
my advice would be, you know, those like stress balls you get for your hands. So just basically squeeze those together with your toes.
Toe hypertrophy.
Yeah, toe.
Love it.
Yeah, that takes too long. You've got to progress it over. We want results now because we're in 2021.
Do you reckon ballet dancers who can stand on their points, as it's called, which they're stood
I
on
think
their
actually,
toes?
like, I think I heard
Their
this-
toes are normally not in a good way.
Yeah, I think they've been deformed.
Okay,
From what I've
It's a
read.
bit of
not good advice then.
Yeah,
No.
I wouldn't recommend, to be honest.
Mike just gave me a weird kind of
It's
handshake.
called. You ever seen a scary movie? Take my strong hand.
Yeah,
There it is.
Mike just gave me like a fisting sign, which is a bit weird.
I know what's happening later that I'm not going to be involved in. Cheers to the invite, guys. Means a lot.
synthol.
Okay, that's enough toe talk for you toe fetishists out there. Mike, would you like to bring a question to the table?
I will. Oh God! Look at that. There's a ghost in here.
Don't say that because I live alone. It makes
Mike,
you scared.
You know what though? There is actually a ghost in this building called
and I'm
Lady.
leaving. Called who?
Lady Evelyn, and she does roam the corridors.
How much she bench?
I don't know. I'll ask her next time.
Yeah, let me know. If she
Okay.
benches more than me, she's on roids.
So, that's your answer to everything. Got a good question here from Jess. Shout out Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Jess Clark PT. What has been your biggest personal challenge, and how did you tackle it? Wow.
Biggest personal challenge. I wish I'd actually thought about this ahead of the show when you referenced this question. Biggest personal challenge.
Or maybe not the biggest. Maybe like think
A
of a big,
significant one.
yeah,
Well,
a big personal challenge, and how do you
surely we
overcome it?
should kind of look at this from a useful fitness perspective, I would say, because there's no point talking about business challenges on this podcast.
Yeah,
Fitness challenges, I would say.
I kind of have one. It's not my biggest. No, it probably is one of my biggest fitness challenges. When I injured myself, and that was the first time I had an injury from training, and overcoming that, it was tough, because I went from I didn't do a lot of fitness when I was a kid, so I caught the gym bug when I was like 20, so I was a bit late to the party.
Mate, I got the gym bug when I was like late 20s.
Oh, there we go then. So
27.
So I was, I wasn't really into it, and I just did the typical thing of when you get into training and you just train loads and loads and loads, and it's just progressive overload. It's just lift more and more weight all the time. And I really badly injured my hip and my shoulder at the same time. And I was devastated because I couldn't train anymore. The only thing I did was just go to the gym. And, overcoming that, having to then learn what I did to myself, go see people who were like, I don't know what to do to fix it, and then have to spend 6 months basically fixing myself, was very humbling.
I would say that the last couple of years, where for whatever reason my right hip has just given up on me. I got into powerlifting for a bit, got into the numbers that we were talking about earlier, which I was quite happy with. And then for whatever reason, I don't know if I think it's a hereditary thing. I think a hip joint, like shallow hip joints, can be a hereditary thing. Yeah. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't like me, like doing proper heavy deep squats, or I think that's mainly, or like leg pressing, anything at like kind of 90-degree angle. So I've had to completely adapt, because I've always prided myself on having good legs. Like my legs, like when I first started bodybuilding, it was one of the areas that was already okay. So, I kind of want to keep it like that. So I've had to adapt how I train in order to make sure my legs keep progressing as the rest of me does. And, it's doable. There's plenty of, when you understand there's more than one way to build a muscle, then
game changer.
Yeah, you just need to drill down into the biomechanics, what really stimulates the the different parts of your quads, your hams, all and so on. There's plenty of bodybuilders out there that don't do squats or deadlifts.
No.
Yeah, well, I kind of made this point in a video before. I think again, movement selection is very much goal relevant, and I think for hypertrophy, this is big beef right now. Everyone's got to slap me for this. Squats and deadlifts are not necessary. I'm not saying don't know. I'm saying you don't need to squat or deadlift. I fully back that. And I also think when actually looking at hypertrophy, I think we spoke about this before, especially when looking at like your ability to take something to failure safely. Machines are arguably better for hypertrophy than free weights are, and that's very much like the older bodybuilders would punch me in the nose for saying that, because obviously back in the day free weights did. But if you can take a hack squat to failure safely versus a squat not that close to failure due to safety limitations, what's actually going to be better for stimulating growth?
Yeah, well, Phil Heath, for example, 7-time, is it Mr. Olympia? Or six, I think 6. He swears by pretty much machines only.
Yeah, I rarely see him do anything. And if he does it's same like when looking at pec development, I probably wouldn't piss around with the barbell unless it's maybe on an incline. Normally, I'd either go machines or free weights.
I think a lot of,
like dumbbells. Sorry.
I think a lot of it's ego, to be honest.
Like the bench press is an ego lift,
and I think people get attached to movements, don't they? And I think
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of that. I like to train the things I like. Like I do train the things I don't like, but I definitely gravitate towards the things I like.
Absolutely.
And I think, like I agree with your point, where when it comes to, it's context, isn't it? If you want to build muscle, there are more optimal ways to do that than squatting and deadlifting. I will say that the gains you will get from doing those things, and kind of like thickness of muscle fiber and strength and everything else that comes with it, kind of, I think this should still be in the conversation, but you don't you don't need to do them.
No, they are great.
But if you want to do them, then fantastic.
No, the thing is, I would love to do them, and I do variations of those things. I've started squatting again recently since it's been feeling better, but I'm not going to be chasing big numbers. I'm probably working more for lighter weight, more reps, more time under tension,
volume.
Not necessarily going like crazy full depth, for example, which I know Harry's very upset about.
Hi.
But also like trap bar deadlifts, I've been doing more of those because again they agree with me more, even slightly more from a higher pull as well, as opposed to proper low down. So just working around issues has probably been my biggest challenge.
I think the thing with like the kind of time and attention thing, I think when you refer to time and attention, you're referring more to like more reps rather than doing 20-second reps sort of thing.
Bit of both, actually.
Because
definitely.
there's a lot of studies coming out recently saying how doing these prolonged reps, I think I put on my story like 2 days ago, how time and attention from the kind of 7-second rep standpoint is no better for hypertrophy than just regular reps. But when you look at the time and attention from like doing multiple reps or things, so versus if I do a set of 3 versus a set of 15, both to failure, I'm more than likely going to yield better hypertrophy-based results doing that set of 15. So I think it's very much like find that time and the place, that middle ground between. Just don't, for many people listening, don't sacrifice mechanical tension for the sake of just doing a really slow rep because you feel like it just burns a lot sort of thing, which I see a lot of people doing.
I mean, I think that's become quite popular in bodybuilding with certain people that love to work on those really, like, I think it's Milos, I think his name is, he does a lot of that stuff. Like really like crazy slow reps. And I mean, I don't know, I think there's room for everything.
I think it's one of the things when it comes to like actually moving the weight most efficiently, it's control it, but I'm not here to see you do like a 4-second concentric and a 4-second eccentric as well. It's like the way I think in muscle fiber recruitment they've kind of highlighted that a slow eccentric, like a good control eccentric, which would probably take you between 2 and 4 seconds depending on the movement, and a fast concentric, so you're kind of basically shifting it as quickly as you can, recruits more muscle fibers than if you were to just do basically a slow concentric, but also ensuring you're kind of holding that peak contraction for maybe, let's say, a second or so.
I think a lot of people don't hold the contraction
and
all.
I'm guilty of that myself. Sometimes when I'm lifting a lot of weight, I'm like, egos take you over, and then I forget, then I remember, why am I lifting? I'm not lifting for ego purpose, I'm lifting to optimize muscle gain, so therefore I probably should actually hold the contraction for a second, kill momentum.
It's great,
I think a lot of people neglect doing that, and again, I'm guilty of that myself sometimes.
I think it's that whole thing like no rep is created equally. That's like I explain with my clients. I say tempo is so important to understand because at least then I can understand what's happening in each rep. Like a rep
great
is
for
just
technique as well.
A rep is just a unit of time, kind of in a way. If you think about the tempo element, because if I get you to follow a tempo versus just get you to do 10 of something, how can you tell me that each of those 10 reps are the same?
Yeah, and eventually you get to the point. The thing is, like, once you get in the rhythm of, once you nail the tempo and kind of get in the rhythm of lifting, you realize how consistent your reps actually do become. A prime example is with one of my clients when we're working together, whenever we deadlift, as like a warm-up, we'll always do, just to nail any technical things that might need to be addressed earlier on, we might do like a really light EMOM for 5 minutes of deadlifts, 60 kilos, something like that, every minute on the minute. So 3 reps of 60 kilos. And you'll notice at every set, he nearly always finishes with 27 seconds left. And eventually you just get in that habit of just your reps are the same, everything becomes the same. And the only reason we do it, are we doing it for any benefit outside of warming up? Not really. I like warming up through the movement. I want to ensure we're warming up thoroughly. It doesn't tax him whatsoever because it's very light compared to what his max actually is.
Yeah, relatively speaking, it's
exactly.
light,
It's sub 50%. And it's also allowing us to, okay, well, what's not feeling good, what's not looking good, what needs to be addressed. Okay, these points, something's going on here. Do your shoulders feel all right? No, I've actually had a bit of a niggle on my trap. No, something's definitely ticking here. Let's address that before we go into working sets. Okay, what we're going to do is, technically speaking, this needs to be addressed. We've got now 5 or 6 sets where we can kind of nail it in. So it's like for the next 5 sets, we were like, nail this. Get in the habit, okay, now I know I'm going to carry forward to my working sets, and now we build up again.
What was the question again?
Things you're overcoming, biggest
that one.
Some things you're
overcoming.
Love
a tangent. We love going on.
Okay, Harry, quick from you.
What big? Probably similar to Mike. Injury when I herniated.
So we're all just basically getting injured and shit. Is what we're saying.
Yeah,
a few because
lifting weights keeps you healthy.
I think realistically, one of the biggest fitness hindrances that people may face outside of like mental health hindrances that I'm trying to like avoid going into because I think I'm trying to more think about actual like fitness itself and the lifting of weights sort of thing. I think injuries is probably one of the biggest hindrances anyone will face, and mine's probably my herniated disc a few years ago, which took me many a year to recover from, and I'm still not fully there.
I would say I learned probably the most about myself early lifting days from my injury. That was the thing I
Probably.
learned the most about, like,
Well, you're
my
for-
capabilities.
And you're also forced to think about what you could do better because
Mm.
something's not right, sort of thing. So it's like, oh wow, I don't want this to happen again.
Yeah.
What can I do to prevent
It's like
it?
when you see fairly like novice lifters, I'm not going to say young because you can be older and be a novice lifter still, is you kind of see them lifting without care and you're just like, okay, wait until you have your
Oh,
first
God.
injury and
I
then
was
then,
that
then
guy.
come and talk to me, because then you'll be interested in what I have to say.
Yeah.
It's like you get it. I get it with clients. You try and talk to them about. It's really, like we said at the first question, it's really important that we get the fundamentals nailed.
Yeah.
I just want to lift heavy weights. I'm like,
When I see
we all do.
when
Trust
you-
me, we all do.
when,
We'll
when
get
I,
there.
When I see someone who is really like, don't get me wrong, we've all chased PBs, PRs, whatever you want to call
and
them.
you need to push sometimes.
And
Like,
you
there
need
needs
to push sometimes.
Yeah.
But I see people, and I think it's probably what I would say to people that I learned, because I did it as well. My wiser self would tell my younger self, don't stress so much about every week hitting a new PB. Give yourself a bit of time, actually structure how you're going to work towards that PB that
Mhm.
isn't just 1 rep maxes all the time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And, you know, a lot of people I still see in the gym just hunting for a 1 rep max. And I just think you're wasting your time in the gym by you're doing 1 rep and then you're resting for 5 minutes. Unless your goal is to be a competitive powerlifter, why are you training like that?
I think realistically, you got to look at why you're doing what you're doing. Because ultimately, even if you are a competitive powerlifter, I don't think I've ever seen a successful competitive powerlifter max out regularly. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between training strength and testing it.
Yeah.
When you go in and you
Yeah,
want rep max,
definitely.
you're testing strength.
I think-
You're not training it.
I
And
think the best thing I could advise people is actually work more on 3 or 5 rep maxes.
yeah.
Keep track of that. Forget your 1 rep max
I
and
agree.
focus on a 3 rep max or even
Definitely.
a 5 rep max.
And even then, when you do test, I would not test any more. If I was, let's say I was powerlifting again, I would not test any more, this is maximum, than 3 times in a year. Maybe even less.
And it's wild to think, though, exactly what Chris said, that
Yeah.
people go
You
into
do
the
it all
gym
the time.
being like, what did I do last week? I lifted this once. I'm going to try and lift this once.
Honestly, I said this to someone on the PR party. You know, I'm calling Ryder. I'm calling you out. Like, I hope you're listening. I'm calling you out right now. And I think Tash is listening as well. So, well, I hope she is, because he's calling her out as well. I know you get excited. You go in, you lift heavy weights, and it's exciting, especially if you're you're strong comparative to your age, whatever it may be. It's a bit of an ego thing. You're like, you know, I want to lift because it makes me feel like I'm doing more. People look, it's cool. It's really nice. It's kind of like makes you feel a bit gassed. So yeah, but it's all well and good. Imagine you lifted 2 kilos extra this week versus a few weeks ago. Imagine if you just didn't test for 12 weeks, hammered training for it, and absolutely shat on your PB. Do you
Yeah.
mean, would you rather a small win, which is only going to take you so far because you will peak and your CNS will say, you know, give me a minute,
Yeah.
or would you rather not lay the foundations, lift properly, lift well, and then absolutely hammer your PB in the future in 3 to 4
Definitely.
months' time?
I think that's a tough one because, like, sometimes it's easier to look for little incremental like gains. Like, I remember when I was working on my strength years ago. Every week I was able to increase my deadlift I was trying to increase it by like 2.5 kilos every week, and it was working.
But it's
And
progressive overload.
It was progressive. It was working, and obviously eating more as well. I started getting heavier in general, and it did work. But there gets a point where you can't maintain that.
No,
Well, the thing is,
it's not linear. It
it's
doesn't go
different.
on like that forever, does
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Like, obviously, you want to progressive overload as much as you can, and I'm like at the gym. If you're training for strength, let's say your goal is this. You're not going in for what I'm kind of referring to is more 1 rep maxes. People, like you said, 1 rep maxing
Agreed,
every
yeah.
week. It's 1 rep max every 16 weeks, let's say. But then every time you go to, you're doing your volume work, you're doing the sets of 5, whatever. The progressive overload those, like bump those up, get numbers. Imagine if your 5 rep max is 150 kilos. And then you start working towards it. And then by the end of your 12-week cycle, 16-week cycle, you're doing multiple sets of 5 on 150 kilos. I guarantee your 1 rep max is going to be a lot bigger than it was before.
Yeah,
or a lot
yeah.
higher than it was before.
I think it comes to like training experience as well, because if you are someone that can't trust the process, I think people can't help but just testing to see where they are. So they'll be like, yeah, I'll follow a program.
Yeah.
And then you see people deviate off program all the time because they'll be like, oh, I just want to test to see if it's working. I'm like, no. You're following this program for like 8 weeks.
It's here for a reason.
10 weeks, whatever. Like, just trust the process. And I think the first time you trust the process, listen to either a coach or you follow a program online, whatever, and then you see it for yourself, then I think you buy into it then.
Absolutely.
Because I see it with with people. They hit a one rep max, and then it's like, right, so now I'm going to just train my 1 rep max to increase my 1 rep max. It's like, no, that's not how it works. And I think it's training experience and actually following the process through to the end, and not just being like, no, it's been 2 weeks now, I'll just try it again.
Imagine if on the 1st of January your 1 rep max was 100 kilos, and then you actually said, you know, for the next 16 weeks, I'm not going to test my 1 rep max again. I'm going to progressively overload every session as much as I can. I'm going to look for that progression. I'm going to push it. I'm going to train the strength rather than test it. Imagine if you got to the end of 16 weeks and you're doing your previous 1 rep max for sets of 3 or 4. Do you mean like
It'd be crazy?
Imagine that, laughing, and I guarantee your 1 rep max is going to be up there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's doing moves.
And that's when Chris said about with testing 3 and 5 rep maxes, like especially with new clients, if I need to figure out how strong they are, I tend to gravitate towards those rep ranges, because actually getting a 1 rep max, actually recruiting all those muscle fibers in itself is a different exercise. Like you get someone to do like a 2 or 3 rep max, it's like it's tough, but they can do it.
There's also a lot more variables with the 1 rep max. Like you literally have one chance to do this.
Give everything,
whatever you can to get that weight.
And
up.
if your setup's not perfect, all these variables aren't perfect, you may not get it. Whereas if it's 3 rep max, because it's a load that you can manage for at least 1, even on a bad day, I think you have a bit more leeway, and you've got that freedom,
a bit more
room for error.
Yeah,
like sure, you may have got like an extra rep if things were perfect.
Yeah, and you can go for rep PBs then,
exactly.
can't you?
But then like that's just shit happens. Life is never perfect. To go to a powerlifting meet, it's very rare you come away saying that was a perfect day. Do you know what I mean? Something always goes wrong, but it does give you that kind of that breathing room.
You think of other sports like 100 meters, like they do practice 100 meters, but they do a lot of other things. They don't just get faster at 100 meters by just running 100 meters all the time.
Usain Bolt does not train 6 days a week and every day just go 100 meter PB every day, because he can snap some shit up and then we're in a
those
problem.
hamstrings. No, thank you.
Okay, that'll do with that. Oh, that's a little sample there. Should we do one more question for this show?
Give us another one.
We've hit an hour before people start complaining.
Okay, well, I think we can wrap up with a decent question. Pressure.
Let's have a look at it. I think this is quite relevant to what we spoke about with fitness struggles. How do you handle not being able to work out with an injury? I'm struggling mentally. I think it's probably something we've all maybe dealt with to some extent.
Well, I mean, I've like I said, I've not had a good training pattern for the last couple of weeks with being away, and I have also probably been struggling mentally. And I can imagine, like lockdown, if we're going to bring that up, would have given people a lot of mental issues, which is why I had to build my gym at home to overcome that. So clearly, I must be someone who would struggle mentally also without training. But if that were to happen to me, what can you do other than make sure that I don't know, there must be something you can do that's not training, that may be walking or making sure your diet is in a good place.
I think the way I'd always approach it is, if lifting and like resistance training is really a fundamental aspect of your life and you aren't able to do that for whatever reason, unfortunately maybe due to injury, what can you do during this time off that will directly benefit you for when you return? So can you work on your mobility? Can you work on any imbalances, do some rehab exercises? What can you do now that sets you up to start at the best possible place in, let's say, 6 weeks' time when you're ready to return?
Mobility is good. Maybe like even stuff like yoga.
Yeah, yoga's
Pilates. That it depends on the situation and the person.
A lot of variables. I don't know what this injury is. Like if it's a serious injury and you aren't able to work around it, obviously. Then what can you do, etc., etc. If it's a minor injury that you can work around, can you work around it? Flip around. If you are going to focus on mobility and work out is obviously a big thing, could you maybe do that mobility in the gym so you're still in that gym environment, so you don't really feel as separated
is
from
that
it?
Not just going to make you more depressed that you can't go and lift some heavy ass weight?
It is, but I'd almost like, if I had the opportunity, if I couldn't lift, I'd rather spend the 6 weeks of mobility that I was doing in the gym than out the gym, because at least I'm still with my friends or in the environment I want to be in. Because I think a big thing about the gym and working out is also just being in that environment.
Community, isn't it?
Absolutely, the community. Again, it depends what kind of gym you go to. If you go to a fantastic gym like East Park Gym, then I'm just saying, a great community there you should join. Just saying.
Come on down.
You don't know what this is from, do you?
Absolutely not.
This is the music from Cheers. I mean, I guess this is probably a bad idea, because that's like a reference for people who are like my age or older.
I knew it.
Oh, that's good. But you're older as well, so
thank you.
I guess
he said it, not me. I just want to point out.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to circle back to the question.
Yeah. What was your?
I agree with you. I think work on something that is going to directly benefit what you're working towards. So depending on the severity of the
You and
injury,
that fucking bottle, man.
I love it.
Can you get a bottle that doesn't have a squeaky
It's
lid?
my emotional support water bottle. I take it everywhere with me.
the support animal.
Squeaky ass
When you
bottle.
see Breach, ask him about my bottle and he'll scream.
I will.
He
I
hates
promise.
it. Ask him about LA.
Okay.
Carry on.
ask him.
Carry. Sorry, Mike.
So it's
carry on.
okay. Derailed again. Thanks, Harry. So I would focus on something that would directly benefit my training. So as someone who was injured, I did all my mobility at the gym. I liked being in the environment. I think I like to keep the ritual of going somewhere to work on my fitness, even though it was something that, I wasn't doing my deadlifts or, pumping iron. I actually managed to do a bit of mobility. I worked on my ankle mobility. I actually worked on my squat quite a lot because I was trying to rehab my hip. So I was doing a lot of research into mobility flows. How can I improve hip mobility, all that jazz. And actually not only fixed my hip, made it stronger, but I actually then improved my squat to the point where I was lifting more weight, and I used that time wisely. And then towards the end of my rehab, I then started to build a program by doing a lot of my own research online before I became properly educated as a personal trainer. So I actually used the time wisely to educate myself and get excited about my program. So when I was better, I
think
knew
that's
exactly
good.
what I was doing.
Educating is definitely a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Learning more.
Yeah.
Training the
Just
brain,
get
not just the muscles.
Get really fucking knowledgeable about training would be a good thing to
Which
do.
could
Yeah.
maybe help, depending on what the injury was, prevent that from
Well,
occurring
yeah,
again.
And it did.
Yeah.
And I think cycling back to what I was referencing towards the beginning of the show, a friend of mine who was out of training with appendicitis, he got it all back. At the end of the day, if you're in a situation where you will overcome it, you will get back to some strength again, then just be real with yourself. Get, maybe, as Mike and Harry say, about do some good learning and whatever you can do. And then just be mentally, prepared for, you'll get that chance. It will come back. You'll get a chance to get straight back into it again.
The first couple of weeks will be shit. To be
Yeah,
honest, they always
cool.
are, because you're comparing yourself to the way you used to be. But it comes back, like Chris said, it comes back so quickly. After a couple of weeks, you're a bit like, now I'm beginning to feel myself again. So literally, just once you're back, get past the first 2 weeks and you're laughing.
Yeah.
If you really, really, really want to stay amongst that kind of gym vibe, then maybe go down there. And if you're a knowledgeable person, then help someone else.
Definitely.
There was a guy who used to train at, I think, Pulse 8 that we used to go to, that used to be proper big bodybuilder and everything. And I can't remember what happened to him, but he got very badly injured, couldn't train anymore. And he was just coming into the gym every day with his walking stick, training another guy. I don't know if you remember him.
I don't remember walking stick.
Yeah, there was a guy.
That's cool.
He kind of got disabled for whatever reason, and he just loved bodybuilding so much that he just dedicated his time to training other people
that's
instead, which is
Yeah.
pretty incredible. Really.
That's quite cool.
That
It's
is
a shame I
cool.
didn't get. If I saw him, I'd probably recognise it.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
yeah,
a shame I don't remember.
there you go. I think we've kind of covered enough Q's and A's. Some good A's, hopefully. Do you
Some
think
really good A's,
Do you think
I
you're
think.
giving good A? Good A today?
I liked your A.
I'm not actually going to comment on this because I'm holding back so much right now.
I can tell.
Yes. Yeah. So it's Christmas is upon us, and hopefully this show is developing, and maybe next year, we're going to cover some resolutions in the next episode.
Definitely.
Well, that's a good idea.
We can,
Our resolutions.
Yeah,
as well.
people could let us know what they are, and maybe we could have a little chat about some resolutions.
people could send us their goals for 2022, and we could discuss how they could best achieve them.
Optimizing goals.
We need context, guys. Otherwise, it'll be like every answer will start with "it depends,"
Yeah.
That's actually my answer to everything. It depends because unfortunately, it does depend.
which is actually an okay answer to say it depends, as long as then you say it
Then you
depends.
elaborate
Yeah,
on-
it depends on context, and if it's this context, this.
Yeah.
I hate it when people say it depends
and then leave it
full
there.
stop.
But if they
It's
say
like,
it depends, because if you're doing this and this, but are you doing this? Are you doing this? You almost encourage further question rather than
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
how do I do this? It depends. Anyway, next question.
Yeah, it depends.
Anyway,
Good luck.
I'm going to bring some final Christmas. This again from Home Alone. Do you reckon?
Harry didn't know that. Everyone.
I'm not good with remembering things.
Yeah. You've seen the film though, right?
I've seen them so many. Well, who's the kid in? Is it the third one? The one after?
No one watches the third one.
We don't
Well,
acknowledge
because
the third
I'll tell you
one.
one thing. One of the kids in one of it, I've never been pissed off by a kiss so much in my life. Every
Yeah.
time I speak, I'm so like,
Do you know
yeah.
Trump was in the second one?
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
In the Plaza Hotel.
And look where we are now. Hey?
So when I was in New York, actually, I watched those films and then was in New York at the same time, which was quite a moment.
Imagine, did you get an invite? Because I didn't.
Well, when I went to New York,
I did actually tell you to come.
That you didn't mean it. I don't remember this. What are you about?
When I was in New York, we did the whole thing with the Ghostbusters. You know, in the first one, when the dog comes out and he runs across the road and bangs on the restaurant. Yeah, we did that.
Nice.
We're tourists.
There you go. But it's always good to be a tourist. Anyway, Christmas. Happy Christmas to you both.
And the next Christmas podcast episode next year will be us in New York filming it. Actually,
Merry Chrysler.
Yeah, we'll be on the top of the Chrysler building or whichever building will let us. Good. Well done, everyone. Happy.
Have a good Christmas.
Happy with the show. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add, Mike or Harry?
I'm hungry. That's
Okay.
about it, really.
I've actually needed a wee this whole podcast.
Do you know what? I'm hungry because of my stress today. All I've eaten today is a protein shake and a protein bar today because of my hijacking related stress. So that's good. And my coffee machine broke this morning, so that's good.
Oh no!
Things happen in threes. So that's
God, wow, that's the worst.
So I'm going to basically
thing ever.
die on the way home. Then is that what you're saying?
If you do, can we have your
No.
setup? So we can carry on. I'm just saying, like, don't
I'll leave
want
the-
to negative impact everyone else.
I'll leave the equipment.
Thank you.
But yeah, anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. This has been another Pump Fiction episode. Episode 2. Episode 3 will be with you in January when we discuss all-important resolutions and hopefully an exciting year ahead. Probably will be in lockdown, but never mind. All right?
Have a good Christmas.
Goodbye,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Speak to you next time.
Ho, 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 ho.